Hello, Ken. This is my pregame analysis of the Michigan State Spartan versus Rutgers Scarlet Knight game. Before I get into it too much, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell down below. I do greatly appreciate it. I am also testing out new microphones, so let me know how this one sounds. Let me know what you think. I figured what better way to test it than to throw it into the fire, and we'll just do an episode and see how it goes. All right, my thoughts on the game. Predictions. I think that Michigan State, even though they're on the road, I'm picking Michigan State to win by 10. And I am predicting that Peyton Thorne is going to have another 4-touchdown game. That's right, you heard it here. 4 touchdowns for Peyton Thorne in this one. Why do I think that Michigan State's going to win? I think they have a more complete offense, and I think their defense can generate more stops than Rutgers' defense can. To expand on that a little bit, I believe that Michigan State's offense is more well-rounded. They have a dynamic running back and a good run game. They also have really good playmakers on the outside, and they have a quarterback that's doing a good job of taking care of the football and really playing smart football right now, playing really good football. So their only weakness I can point to on offense right now that we have seen is their pass protection communication. Sometimes there's a letdown there. But even with that, Peyton Thorne has done a really nice job of making smart decisions even when the play breaks down. He's either taking off and running or he's throwing the ball away. He's just not turning it over, which is always a great way to play smart, sound football. I think that Rutgers is going to have a harder time stopping that offense. I believe they will stack the box and prevent Kenneth Walker from running all over them. I think it could be a rough day for Kenneth Walker, which is why I'm predicting Peyton Thorne to have 4 passing touchdowns. But I think their corners, especially if they plan on putting them on an island, are going to have a really hard time stopping Reed and Naylor, to the point that I don't think they can. I will be shocked if Reed and Naylor don't have big games. Trey Mosley, even, I expect him to probably get 5 or 6 receptions. So that's kind of why I'm feeling Michigan State by 10 on this one. I also like Michigan State's defensive line to get some pressure this week and to just play sound football. So if Rutgers is gonna score, they're not gonna do it by making big plays. They're gonna have to be methodical, drive down the field, play mistake-free football, and I don't think they can do that enough or be as effective at it as to match the points that Michigan State's going to get. So that's why I'm taking Michigan State by 10. That's why I'm picking Peyton Thorne to get 4 passing touchdowns in this one. And I guess I'll go through the position groups a little bit, kind of highlight what I hope to see out of them this week, and then we'll wrap up this video. We'll keep it short and sweet. Quarterback Peyton Thorne, continue to play the way you have. Continue to take care of the football, make smart decisions. It's all good. I don't really see much to his game that I would say he needs to work on. If I was going to highlight one thing, it would be when he is under pressure, he sometimes gets a little bit flustered, and then he starts to rush the clock in his head a little bit more than he needs to. Not that he's giving the ball away. I just think there are times where there's a play to be made, and he's almost rushing his progressions, and so the play is not coming to fruition, or he's just throwing a inaccurate pass. Nothing that's backbreaking by any means. I think he's playing really good, smart football. I would just say he kind of speeds things up a little bit and gets a little bit flustered when he starts to feel a pass rush, which thankfully they've done a pretty good job of not allowing much pressure to Peyton Thorne. There's just been a couple games where I felt like he really got a little bit out of sync, I guess is the best way to put it, out of rhythm, and that hurt the offense a little bit. So I would like to see him just, you're going to take your hits, especially in some games more than others, but just stand in the pocket, keep your poise, go through your reads, and if you take a sack every now and then, so be it. Just take care of the football. It's a part of the game. Eventually a team is going to get home, and you're going to take a sack. It's not ideal, and if you could throw the ball away, definitely do that before taking the sack. But I just feel like he's getting rid of the ball a little bit too quickly. I think he's got a couple more seconds than he realizes. And so then he's throwing the ball away when actually he could have waited another second or two for his wide receiver to get open. So that's my thought on him. He's just playing great football, though. Really, I can't, it's not every time he faces pass rush and pressure. Most of the time he makes a good throw. Every now and then, though, he starts to speed up his progression. So I would say I'd like to see him work on that a little bit. The wide receiver group, it's kind of a play calling thing, but I'd like to see Naylor stay involved early and often. I really liked the game plan last week, and I hope to see more of that. Get Naylor some easy stuff, jet sweeps, screen passes. This helps open your offense up, and he's a guy that can really be dynamic for you, but you got to get him involved in the offense. I would also like to see him get a little bit more consistent with his route running. I think sometimes he struggles to get open downfield, and for Peyton Thorne to find him because his route running could be a little bit crisper in and out of his cuts. Other than that, I mean, that group's playing really well. Trey Mosley continued to find ways to get open, get first downs. Reed has just been a monster so far this year. So not really much to add there on either of those guys. Connor Hayward continued to settle into your position. He did have a couple drops last week. Do not let that kind of carry over into more bad play. Shrug those off. Move on. You've been playing really well, especially for a guy who's changed positions in the offseason. I think he's played really phenomenal so far. He's done everything the coaching staff has asked of him. So I would say just, stay confident and don't let those mistakes last week carry over to this week. Just let them go. Move on. You just had one bad game, and that's going to happen sometimes. So shrug it off and let's move on. Get back to what you were doing before. And I would like to see the offense continue to call plays, wrinkle plays for him. Use him on some end-around plays. Use him, motion him from like the H-back spot back to halfback. Maybe go empty with Hayward kind of on a wing spot and then motion him back into a running play kind of a look. If you don't have any running backs, traditional, air quotes here, traditional running backs in your huddle, when you come out, the defense might decide, to go a little bit lighter at linebacker, and then you can motion Hayward into the backfield and run, much like the New England Patriots used to do with Aaron Hernandez to help throw off the defense and give them some different looks. So I like those little wrinkles. We saw a little bit of it when he lined up in the backfield, and I'd like to see more of that. It just helps keep the defense on their toes, or on their heels, basically, is what you want. You keep them guessing, keep them wondering what you're going to hit them with next, and that's always a good thing for your offense. Offensive line, continue to work on your pass protection. I still feel like it's 100% a communication issue, where they're just not picking up where the blitz is coming from and then adjusting their blocking scheme to pick it up. I haven't seen anybody really get beat over and over again on a talent level. Like, for the most part, they've played fine. It's just sometimes there's free blitzers because their communication isn't quite there yet. So continue to work on that. I'd like to see that improve. If you keep Peyton Thorne clean and give him a nice pocket to throw from, he is going to shred defenses. I have seen nothing out of Peyton Thorne to make me think that if given a clean pocket that he's just not going to play well. We've not seen that at all. He plays really well, especially in a clean pocket. So clean up those issues, continue to run block well, and the rest will take care of itself. Defensive line, continue to be beasts, man. You are the backbone of this defense. And I think this is a group that likes that kind of pressure. I think they like knowing that if they have a bad game, the defense is going to struggle. I think it drives them to play hard and to play fast, to play strong. And so far, they've risen up to each and every challenge that's been put in front of them. Western Kentucky, of course, is going to score points, but they made life as miserable as they could on their Western Kentucky quarterback. They didn't get much help in that game either. Michigan State opted not to blitz a lot with their play calling packages and to drop in coverage and just rush those four guys up front. So I thought they did a pretty good job, especially without play calling really giving them. It was just those four guys pass rushing for most of the game. So They did a good job there. They clearly did an awesome job stopping Western Kentucky's. Excuse me, sorry about that. Stopping Western Kentucky's run game. So, they are in my opinion, they're the backbone of the defense, and they've risen to each and every challenge. I don't really have a lot I want to see out of them, except maybe see somebody other than Panashuk kind of rise up and be a bit more of a steady pass rusher, especially with Beasley being hurt. I feel like there's room for another guy on that front four to really step up and make some plays. And I think Slade could be that guy. He's just been a little bit inconsistent. Sometimes he'll show up and make some great plays, and then sometimes he disappears for a while, and you don't hear his name called for a quarter and a half. So I think consistency there would allow him to be that next guy to step up. Linebackers, I mean, I can't knock the linebacker play too much because they've generally been where they're supposed to be. They're not getting beat either by the rush or the pass. They're just there making plays, but nobody's making the big play. Nobody's, getting those tackles for a loss. Nobody's dropping into coverage and picking off, a bad pass by the quarterback or sinking into a zone and the quarterback losing sight of him, and then he goes and makes a play. Just lacking a playmaker at that position group. And I'm not saying that as a knock. I'm saying that as, that's the next progression for somebody in that group. Somebody should step up and say, you know what, I'm just going to flash around the field. I'm going to fly all over the place, and I'm going to be a playmaker. If I diagnose a run play, I'm flying uphill, and I'm going to make that tackle for a loss. If I see that it's a pass play, I'm gonna drop out into my zone and try to bait that quarterback into a bad pass. Just those little kind of things, I think overall the group is playing well, even though they've been quiet, necessarily from a big play perspective. But what I want to see out of them is for at least one of those guys to take the next step and be a dude, be a somebody, be a playmaker. But if all they do this season is do their job like they are right now, that's fine. I mean, that's going to be plenty good enough for this defense to be successful. So it's just a next progression kind of thing that I wanted to highlight, what I want to see out of that group. I've talked about it for a couple weeks now. I feel like there's a couple guys that are close to getting to that point where maybe they're just more comfortable in the defense to the point where they're thinking less and able to fly around the field a little bit more. Maybe that's part of it. These guys are kind of learning on the fly still. Last year doesn't really count. I mean, they had a few games. They didn't really have an offseason to learn stuff, so they really only had one complete offseason so far to really lock in on their schemes. So with that in mind, for these guys to be where they're at is just a tremendous coaching job. I think Mel Tucker and company have done a fantastic job, especially giving the crappy hand they were dealt with COVID and all that stuff. So, just some things I want to highlight. Same thing from the corner group. Like if the corner group just plays at the level they're at right now for the whole season, Michigan State's going to win a lot of games. But the next step is for them to really tighten up their coverages. Corners in particular. If you can really tighten up the coverages and make those difficult throws, each and every time the opposing quarterback drops back to throw, if he's looking at throwing into tight windows all the time, that makes things very difficult. And it's that kind of progression, from the linebackers and the corners that could really elevate this team to perhaps championship level. If this team continues to progress, and if a couple of those guys on defense step up to be playmakers, I see no reason. I'm going to say it now. I see no reason why this team can't improve to the point of competing for the Big Ten championship. I think that Ohio State has some weaknesses that can be exploited this year. Unlike years past, they don't look like a world beater, in my opinion. They're very good, very good. And I still have them in the championship game as of right now, but there's no reason why Michigan State can't get to that level this year. They could get close enough. My goodness, sorry, that snuck up on me. They could get close enough to really push Ohio State and perhaps upset them and really run the table in this division. I feel that this Michigan State team is that close, which is, again, that's a tremendous job by Mel Tucker and company going into I'm going to say year 1.5, because I'm not even counting last year as a full year. It was so messed up because of everything that was going on outside of football. So tremendous job by that coaching staff. You got a bunch of roster turnover. You got a bunch of guys playing right now that weren't even there last year to even learn the offense and defense for that limited amount of time. They basically started over from scratch. And to have this team playing at such a high level is just a phenomenal job by them. So, yeah, I'm going to sing their praises a little bit. I think that coaching staff has done a wonderful job. I think the play calling's been really good. I feel like the defense could have dialed up pressure a little bit more last week, but it's hard to argue with results. And what they did worked. What they did got them the victory. So those are a few highlights. I don't have anything to say about the safety group. The safeties have played phenomenal for Michigan State. Just keep playing that way. Xavier Henderson, like I've said before, one of the best players, one of the best safeties in the country, in my opinion. So, yeah, the other guys at safety, too, have also done a really nice job. You know, they've been asked to be in coverage quite a bit to help in the run-stopping department, and they've all risen up. You know, they're all playing really well. So that's why Michigan State's undefeated. They're all playing well, and I expect them to play well in this one. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on the game. My prediction is Michigan State will win on the road by 10, and Peyton Thorne's going to throw 4 touchdown passes because I expect Rutgers to stack up against the run, and I think Reed and Naylor and Mosley are poised to really have big games. So those are my thoughts. That'll wrap this one. Remember, all love, all the time. Peace.